Today I am here to discuss the post. If you've been active in the Magic social media space, you've probably seen this text, this post by Jeremy White, who is a longtime competitive Magic player, and they had the following to say as a analogy. That's the term. Hey, you have a favorite restaurant that you've dined at for many years now. You love it because they serve high quality food and are staffed by people who care about making the experience of eating at the restaurant good. One day, you notice a new item on the menu. Slop. Vine boom sound effect. What's this for? You ask the waiter. It's for the pigs. Pigs eat slop. Vine boom sound effect. Over time, a second flavor of slop shows up on the menu, then a third. Then you notice that some of the old menu items you used to love now come with a non-optional side of slop. All menu items are now designed with the pigs in mind. Vine boom sound effect. On the chance that one of them might try their hand at human food, the quality and preparation of the human food that's on the menu also starts to degrade. When you ask the restaurant staff about it, they inform you that they no longer have the resources to make sure the human food is prepared correctly. They're too busy making slop. Vine boom sound effect. You notice that some of the restaurant patrons that you become good friends with have stopped showing up. You stop showing up. You are upset with the direction the restaurant is taking, and in post about on social media, you get two types of replies. One, I am a pig and I eat slop. Or two, the restaurant is doing so well and has so many patrons. How can you be upset? Getting more customers into the restaurant has to be a good thing. The second comment is particularly frustrating because it naively assumes that the entire restaurant clientele wants the same things. But you don't want 5 different flavors of slop. Vine boom sound effect. You want human food that is prepared by people who are passionate about food and who care about the experience of dining at the restaurant being a good one. You don't care if there are more pigs eating at the restaurant now. You liked things just fine when there were no pigs. Vine boom sound effect. And contrary to the sentiment, things have gotten worse for you as the restaurant has grown, not better. Is the slop UB? Yes, it is heavily implied that the slop is UB. So chat, you've seen the release schedule next year. We're getting 4 crossover sets and 3 in-universe sets. There is so much discussion happening around this. So here's the thing, chat. Slop, to me, when I hear the term slop, it implies to me that it is low effort, or there is a significant modicum of lack of effort compared to other content in the, I guess we'll say, source material here. I think the question we need to introduce is Universes Beyond inherently low effort? Is there a significant visible lack of effort put into UB sets compared to non-UB products? And by extension, is Universes Beyond actually worse for Magic? So chat, I don't know if you know this, but assuming I have counted correctly, by 2027, there will have been minimum 35 different IPs that have appeared in Magic. Did you know that? You probably thought it was like, what, 15, 20? Nope. You might hear that and think, wow, it's a lot. But one thing that I find very, very interesting is the dynamic of what actually is being counted as a Universes Beyond product. This is how much of the UB product is secret lairs. Like, what is it? Okay, booster inserts from air decks, actual sets, Beyond boosters, supplemental sets. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Only 8 of these have actually been real products, and so many of them have just been secret lairs. What is a Beyond booster? A Beyond booster is Assassin's Creed. It's the same thing that the Aftermath boosters were, where it's like, hey, you get 5 cards in one pack, and the set is like 80 cards big. So chat, I want to go back to where it all started. I want to look through every major Universe Beyond product and deduce if we could say that this particular product is actually slop or low effort with Walking Dead, where it all began. It was a lot of things that happened from this. A lot of things. We had Captain for a while, before that guy pretty much got like, there is no war in Ba Sing Se. Secret Lairs are ideally their own condensed kind of product as a cosmetic, even if it's absolutely absurd and stupid like Dwight. I agree. I agree, but the people don't. I don't think slop equals effort. I think slop equals detracting from what magic is. I wouldn't say that. Slop to me implies that they're just like making whatever for the sake of being able to like constantly pump out content. It's like AI channels, right? Where they just like those like AI caption like clips of movies or shows. That's slop because there's no actual like human touch put into it. It's just pumping out content forever for the sake of appealing to an algorithm. I feel like that is the most broad term of slop that most people would gravitate towards. So it all started with Walking Dead, the very first UB secret lair. If you weren't here for this when it first started, oh my god, there was so much controversy around this set, dude. People were begging the at the time Commander RC to ban these cards before they even released as a sign of like defense against wizards, as like a way to say no, we're not gonna tolerate this. We're not gonna be okay with this. They didn't do that. And I would say that the Walking Dead secret lair was dubious at best. This was their very first product. There was no way to really know how people would judge this. And by extension, as I'm sure you've probably seen it many times in chat at this point, a lot of people just don't really see UB secret lairs as a big deal because A, they're pretty hard to actually come by in the wild, and 2, they do make versions of the cards that are in universe eventually, for now, but we'll get into that later. And of course, as time has gone on, we've gotten more and more wacko secret lair cards, like we had we had Hatsune Miku get added to the game. That was kind of funny, with like a million different cards. Shout out to Laura, but it's Hatsune Miku. That's funny, right guys? And could you argue secret lairs where it's just, hey, let's slap a character from a different property onto a card that already exists and try to sell it for money? Could you argue that that's very sloppy? Honestly, yeah. I think you could. I guess the question is, like, because sometimes they make unique cards. Like we see with, like the God of War secret lair. They'll make Mimir's Ancient Wisdom, but it's actually just Teferi's Insight with Mimir on the card from the game. But then also in this secret lair, there's a Kratos card that actually is functionally unique. So chat, I have a question for you all. What to you is lower effort? So what's more sloppy, chat, for a secret lair? New functionally unique cards or reprints of the crossover art? Because I would think that a UB secret lair with new cards is less sloppy, because that means that they are putting in effort to design a card for the character that makes sense. It seems people in my chat think that UB secret lairs are dubious at best for being defined as slop or low effort. But don't forget, chat, we did progress from the Walking Dead secret lair to actual booster inserts in the middle of sets. Back in Ikoria, you could pull essentially just alters of in-universe cards as UB cards. You could instead of opening Brakos, Apex and Forever, you could open Biocourt Space Godzilla. You could do that back then. And many people at the time felt like this was the perfect balance, and no one really had any problems with being able to open alters in your main set, but it did progress. A year or two down the line, it progressed to the Transformers booster inserts with cards like the CEDH Menace of Slicer Higher Muscle. So you could open this with the cartoon art from the Brothers War packs. So chat, Do we think that the booster inserts of UB cards are sloppy or low effort? Keep in mind, chat, this was an in-universe set. You open the Transformer cards in the middle of your Brothers War pack. Don't forget that. So you could see Urza and Slicer in the same pack, I think. Maybe not actually, but something along those lines. You understand what I'm saying. And it seems like my chat, at least, has no problem with that. But you know, secret lairs, booster inserts, these are pretty minor. Like, no one really cares that much about secret lairs. No one really cares that much about booster inserts. You know, who cares? Warhammer 40k. Did you like the Warhammer 40k decks, chat? And if so, why? Do you think the Warhammer 40k decks were sloppy? They are fantasy adjacent. You know what's funny? I've met many people who feel like Warhammer is not fantasy enough. It's too like science heavy. Warhammer is similar to Neo Kamigawa in that even though there are robots and technology, they somehow fit MTG art. Hell yeah, they were unique, good design, good direction, good mechanics, the best set ever. Very interesting. Now, as I'm sure you're seeing in chat, everyone kind of liked these decks. The cards were cool. The decks were fun. People felt like the IP fit with Magic. There were very little complaints about this set overall. It was pretty good. What about Fallout? Do we think Fallout is sloppy? I love Mothman, but why do you love Mothman? Is it because you think it's fantasy adjacent, the same way Warhammer is? See, here's the thing. Right? I did highlight this in my most recent video. The term of not fitting in Magic is so subjective, and it feels like there is no community agreed consensus, it feels like, minus Spider-Man, of what does and doesn't fit in Magic. Fallout literally does not have magic in it at all. You cannot cast spells in Fallout. It is a ruined version of modern day society. And yet my chat is saying that Fallout feels like it fits in Magic. How is that possible? Now, I'll agree with you. Mothman was amazing. Radiation. People loved how Radiation played. My chat is saying that Fallout does not feel sloppy. And I agree. Because let's be real. These decks, just like Warhammer, were very fun. Radiation was awesome. Dog meat. It's a dog. Look at him. He's adorable. He's awesome. Was fun. Energy deck. Yeah. That one was less good. But hey, more energy stuff. That's cool. Hey. Kaisar. Legion Temperer. People liked these decks. People felt like these decks were high effort. They were fun to play. And as a result, most people feel like these decks were not slop. Now, the most dubious one of all, chat, and you could probably guess what I'm about to say by now at this point, is Doctor Who slop. I do think that this product was kind of Wizards dipping their toes in questionable waters, because when this was spoiled, lots of people were like, I'm not sure about this one. I'm not sure about this one. There's no magic in Doctor Who. It's all sci-fi. There's time travel and TARDISes and I don't know, sonic screwdrivers. Hey! Look, man, that's a real city. That is a real city in that art. I'm just saying. The game design is so cool, but not the flavor. But see, that's the thing, though. The game design being cool to me, I think implies that it is not slop. Because if the game design is cool, there was enough effort put into the product that people can consider it not slop, even if the IP is too real life adjacent. The line seems to be if the play patterns are fire. So this means Dragon Maze is slop. I'm glad you said that. So here, chat, I have another question for you, all right? A literal in-universe set. Again, I did kind of discuss this in my other video. Did we think that mild inconveniences at Carlo Manor was slop? Now, see, it's interesting. When I ask my chat if Carlo Manor, a literal in-universe set, is slop, the overwhelming majority says yes. But why? I want to hear your answers. What is it to you that makes you feel like Karlov Manor is slop? It's only slop because it feels low effort. Now, what would you say qualifies as low effort, chat? Because here's the thing, right? What's lower effort? Trying to put a spin on a plane that kind of adheres towards a certain trope to try and see if your players like it? Or just taking Preston Garvey and slapping on a card. It doesn't feel good to play. The theme is one thing, but the cards are all over the place. For a set known to be a 2-color combo all the way, all the characters in the story don't drive a theme. So chat, in order to make sure this segment doesn't go on for 2 more hours, because I have like 5 more footnotes here for sets. Can we agree that the only thing that really determines if a MTG product is slop is if the card design is good? Is that something that I can get most of my chat to agree with? Because Doctor Who, despite it being a IP that is very, very similar to real life, it shows real life depictions, people say it's not slop because the card designs were cool. Time travel was cool. Chat saying yes. So I could sit here and go over Lord of the Rings and Final Fantasy, and I think we can pretty safely say everyone here would be like, yeah, good set, not slop, because the cards were actually cool. The sets were fun. The cards were fun to play. The cards were well designed. It was a cool set. So let's just skip to the end here. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. Come on now. Look, man, you Spider-Man players, y'all who got into the game through a set, I'm so sorry. Because I know it has to suck seeing so many people just kind of like dogging on your set. Like, dude, look, the only cool card here is Behold the Sinister Six. You know why? Because you can do this. Behold the Sinister Six! And then it's kind of funny, I guess. The cards, I've said before, I'll say it again, a lot of these cards just feel like it is the most random lines of text just slapped on the cards. When Miles enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Did ChatGPT make this card? ChatGPT, I need a 2-mana mythic that has a relevant effect. I got this. And when he transforms into Ultimate Spider-Man. He has camouflage. I'll be so real, bro. I don't even remember him having some kind of like camouflage ability. Or did he? Actually, no, he did actually, I think. So that makes sense. But then why does he double the counters on spiders? So chat, I do want to highlight one problem with this. As we all know, I think it's pretty much confirmed, Spider-Man was supposed to be the same kind of set as Assassin's Creed, where it's a very, very small set. You were designed to open the set in the form of like 7 card boosters, and last minute they kind of just like jammed a bunch of commons into the set for the sake of making it not beyond boosters. I have asked this on stream before. I'm gonna say it again. I question if what we got is actually worse than what we would have gotten had they just not touched it and left it alone as beyond boosters. Get my boy Masked Meower on screen. Masked Meower! Does the cat have a way to bring itself back? No. The cat can kill itself to draw you a card. What? Like, here's the thing, right, chat? I can virtually guarantee you that if the set had been kept as Beyond Boosters, we would not have gotten City Pigeon. We would not have gotten Passenger Ferry. We would not have gotten Bagel and Schmear. Oh my god, this set's terrible, what? And I question how much of this set, like, do these cards' mere presence in the set make the set feel worse? I kind of feel like it does. I question how much of the set is being hurt just by the commons literally existing. Because not only are these cards unplayable, I feel like the New York aesthetic isn't super noticeable in the actual rares of the set. Maybe that's copium? Like, you kind of can't tell in Gwenum. Mr. Negative is just in some lab of some kind. Electro, you can't tell. Electro, you can't tell. A lot of people want an Invincible set. And for like seasons 1 through 3, 90% of the time, Mark, the main character, is on Earth. Lots of Invincible fans want an Invincible set, even though it takes place in real life, the same way, okay, well, a fictional depiction of real life, the same way Spider-Man does. And Invincible has an entire arc of alternate realities, or alternate dimensions, the same way Spider-Man does. And another thing I want to mention, chat, like, I think we can all agree, an issue not with the set, but with the IP, is that when you have to work with 20 different versions of character but slightly different, I think we can all safely say the ceiling for design potential is very, very low compared to, I don't know, literally every other UB set we've gotten. Like, dude, this was the first Marvel set. Wizards made a contract with Marvel to make multiple Marvel sets. And when they announced it, we were all like, bro, what? And we get here, and it's like, oh, wait, this is like... I think the Command Zone mentions as well. I think Spider-Man was the first time ever in the game's history that we've seen so many players take a stand to consciously not buy Spider-Man. Like, my entire play group was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna buy the set because I actively want this to stop. Because I actively want Spider-Man to flop so that Universe Beyond gets hurt by it. It's just, it's interesting. I pose yet another question for you all. Is a set being Universe Beyond all it takes for you to be able to consider it as slop? And I think for the most part, based off of our analysis here, the answer is no. People liked Final Fantasy, loved Final Fantasy, people loved Lord of the Rings, people loved Doctor Who, Fallout, Warhammer, all of those sets were cool. So chat, that takes us to our next topic that a lot of people will say as a criticism of Universe Beyond, and that is that Universe Beyond doesn't feel like Magic. Now, you will a lot of the time only see this take from people who are avid just UB haters. They hate everything related to Universe Beyond. They think it's all bad, regardless of what it is. And as a result, they don't say it out loud, but what they actually mean is Universe Beyond doesn't feel like Magic, therefore it's bad. When someone says that, there's a really good chance that that's what they actually mean, which, as we just saw, is not true. People loved Final Fantasy. People loved Warhammer. People loved the Wise Mothman. This entire complaint, if you can call it that, is extremely subjective and is largely dependent on just purely the card designs. We can pretty safely say now, card designs are the one and maybe only big factor in determining if a set is actually fun. The only other one I can say is maybe art, which I'm not going to deny. Spider-Man's art does feel lackluster compared to other sets. We saw it with Carlo Manor. People didn't like this set because the cards sucked. Thunder Junction, people didn't like because while plot was cool, plot as a mechanic's pretty cool, people thought plot was cool. I think so. I mean, it's just Foretell Plus, which then again, one of the biggest complaints about modern design is that a lot of new mechanics are just old mechanic plus, which we also saw with Carlo Manor with Disguise. Ugh. I love Morph, but my creatures of Ward 2 and face down. Why? Like, it really does feel like the only thing that actually determines if a Magic set or product is actually slop is if the set has bad card designs. If I'm being honest, like, the complaint of UB doesn't feel like Magic, I really just think is largely from boomers who've been playing since Urza Block. Until we had Spider-Man, the hardcore UB haters really had nothing to point at as evidence to the claim that a product not being in universe is all it takes for a set to be bad. Pretty much every UB product before this one was a success. But now that Spider-Man flopped, all of the Magic boomers are trying to use this as evidence. Like, guys, look, Spider-Man bad. That's evidence that UB bad. Yeah, guys. What's that? Final Fantasy? No, don't look at that. Don't look at Final Fantasy. Ignore that. Fallout? No. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. Spider-Man bad. Therefore, you be bad. That's all it takes. As I've proven now, both in this stream and the video I just released like 2 days ago, the phrase doesn't feel like Magic makes no sense. There is no consistent basis from players on what that means. Because if the reasoning for Spider-Man not being Magic is because there's no actual Magic in the IP, then by extension, Fallout also should have failed because it's not Magic. Which brings me to my next point, chat. Another concern that players have shown is Universe Beyond overtaking Magic. And I think there is a lot of evidence to this claim. Next year, we are getting 3 in-universe sets and 4 crossover sets. We know now that this is TMNT. Notably, all of these UB sets, minus the Hobbit, lack magic in the IP. The TMNT has no spellcasting. Star Trek is exclusively sci-fi the same way Doctor Who is. Marvel superheroes. I mean, like, do you count Doctor Strange as magic? Maybe? I don't know. I wouldn't. And I think it's actually a pretty relevant point. You know, it's very easy to say that Magic is being overtaken by UB when so many of these UB sets literally don't even have Magic in their IP, which is literally the name of our game. The name of our game literally is Magic. And chat, if you didn't know that right now, today, over 30% of all legends in Magic, legendary creatures, are now from Universe Beyond, which is a staggering number considering the fact that we've only had UB for what, 6 years? 5 years? But I do believe the question should rather be not is Magic being overtaken by Universe Beyond, but rather, is Universe Beyond Magic? Love it or hate it, there have been UB sets, several UB sets, almost every one besides Assassin's Creed and Spider-Man that players loved, despite being a Universe Beyond product. I would generally say that if a Universe Beyond set plays well, feels fun to play, then that's all that matters. The issue is when you get Spider-Man, and that's not fun. And by extension, there is I think a big concern that a lot of players have is, well, instead of something cool in Universe you could have had, we got this instead. It could have been better. If Universe Beyond didn't exist, we wouldn't have Spider-Man, and instead, we'd have Return to Alara. The unspoken problem that I think a lot of players have with Universe Beyond is the fear that Universe Beyond is taking away from what could have been for the sake of something that's not worthwhile. For example, again, Spider-Man fans, I'm sorry, but your set is generally not liked. And look, like I said, Wizards has stated that the 4 UB sets, 3 universe sets is an irregularity. It's something that they don't plan on repeating. But as many players have pointed out, Wizards has gone back on their word many times. We were told that Universe Beyond would never enter Standard. We were told that Universe Beyond would always get a in-universe version of the card. So it is understandable that many players are afraid that the whole of Universe Beyond goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And look, you can be like me, all right? You can be someone who stands firm that UB does have positives. I think there are a lot of people who recognize that UB is not all negative and maybe even believe UB is only positive. You know, a lot of people say, you know, UB is bringing in a lot of new players, where more people are playing Magic than ever because of Universe Beyond. But one thing that I find interesting is I have been getting people in my comments who say they got into the game through Universe Beyond, and yet they are also starting to get burnout from the amount of Universe Beyond. And yet, Universe Beyond is what is raking in the most money for Hasbro. And I think one thing that a lot of people don't realize they may be supporting towards is that the Fortnite pipeline is real. People say, oh, you know, Magic is not going to completely get rid of the in-universe IP. They're not going to just stop doing in-universe sets. They're not going to do that, right? Why would they? Mark Rosewater himself has stated that story is very, very low on priority for design nowadays. He's literally said that. One thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, there is potential that a lot of the things that are happening because Hasbro has a gun to WotC's head and is saying, hey, make me money now. And there is no line that Hasbro will not cross. And if you don't believe me that there is no line that Magic won't cross, Chris Cox, the CEO of Hasbro himself, has literally said, don't be surprised if you see us poking into romantasy. Don't be surprised if you see us looking at K-pop bands. Nothing is off the table. A lot of the people who support UB, myself included, kind of subconsciously think that it's not going to get worse. You know, the Universe Beyond will not get to a point where it overtakes the in-universe sets or the in-universe product. Everyone who is reasonable and is not all UB bad, I don't think it's unfair to say that we subconsciously believe that it will not overtake the in-universe stuff. It can. It can and it will. If what keeps happening is UB sets sell like crazy, like Final Fantasy, and in-universe sets suck, like Carlo Manor. The pipeline of Magic going full Fortnite and completely abandoning in-universe stuff is real. It could happen. You probably hear that and think, oh, no, Bounce Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. They wouldn't do that. Surely they wouldn't abandon Jace and Chandra and Liliana and Nicol Bolas. They wouldn't do that. Surely not. Can anyone here tell me what Fortnite's roots were? What was Fortnite supposed to be before it became the Battle Royale game? It was a defensive shooter where you and friends would build defenses to defend against a horde of PvE enemies. Fortnite makes a Battle Royale mode just randomly, just because I can, and it goes crazy. And look where it is now. Every IP you can think of is in Fortnite now. We just had K-pop Demon Hunters get added to that game, I think I saw. It is possible. I know it might sound insane, it might sound crazy to hear it, but the pipeline of Magic going full Fortnite and abandoning Jace and Loot and Chandra in favor of just going full crossover, and we get 6 crossover sets a year, is real. It could happen. So, if you don't want to see that happen, what can you do to stop Universe Beyond from actually overtaking Magic? I'll tell you what. Lorwyn Eclipsed, if you want to do your part to prevent Universe Beyond from overtaking Magic as a whole, you need to buy Lorwyn Eclipse. Y'all need to make Lorwyn a best-selling set. You need to show Hasbro that in-universe sets can sell well. Encourage your peers, your friends, encourage everyone you know to buy Universe Beyond. Or no, God, no, oh, God, oh, Super Agent, no, oh! Ah! You need to encourage everyone you know. You need to encourage everyone you know to spend money on in-universe product and not buy crossover product. Is Universe Beyond bad for the game entirely? Right now, I would say no. We are not at a point where it is doing more harm than good for the game, but I do think we are very close. You know, we've been told that 4 UB sets a year is an irregularity. It's not the new norm. It could happen. We could progress to 4 crossover products a year. We could progress to the game just abandoning our actual in-universe IP entirely. And I don't think it's unfair to say that no one wants that. I don't think anybody here wants it to happen where Jace, Chandra, Garuk, they all get lined up, bags get thrown over their heads, and they all get shot. We don't want that. If you want to prevent the Universe Beyond completely overtaking Magic, spend money on Lorwyn, Strixhaven, and Reality Fracture, and don't buy anything from Marvel Heroes, not Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, TMNT, and Star Trek. I get it. The sets are fun sometimes. I get it. And look, let's be honest. I don't think we mind if sometimes we get really fun sets like Final Fantasy. I don't think we mind if we get 2 UB sets a year. The sentiment I've seen from people is, hey, 2 UB sets a year, I'm down. 2 crossover products a year, I'm cool with that. I wouldn't mind. I want to be clear. I don't think Universe Beyond is bad for the game. I don't think Universe Beyond is evil or a bad malevolent force of the game. But I do think that if we keep spending so much money on UB product and not in-universe product, Magic could potentially go full Fortnite. And every Magic character we know will get sent to the void, never to be seen again. We don't want that. But you know what's funny, chat? There is a pivotal moment in time where the Universe Beyond problem began. And it all began with a single character, unsealed from his chamber, designed to keep this monstrosity hidden from the world forever. This disgusting creature. This awful, just awful. Ever since this guy got introduced to this game, it has been nothing but downhill. Nothing. I cannot stand this guy. Everywhere I go, I cannot avoid him. He appears in my Foundation set. He appears in my Goofy Racing set. He even appears in the background of sets where he's not even there. Everywhere I go, I see him. Everywhere I look, I cannot avoid him. Chat, look. Reality Fracture releases in October. We need to lend our energy to the universe. If we all pray hard enough, and give our energy to the spirit riders of Magic, Loot will die. And then, and only then, can Magic be saved.